This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
Okay. This is what you can look forward to on episode 135 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
We love it. You're the little mama that did that.
Luckily, Secret Squirrel was nowhere in sight, and I got some...
He's slipping.
Yes. I got some awesome pictures of the dirt that is Star Wars land.
The podcast that pronounces the word orange correctly.
No, it's orange. Superman was my gateway drug into film music and into John Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hello, Skywalkers.
Listen. Up to Neverland.
I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Wow. Oh,
You are skywalking through Neverland.
Hey, Skywalkers! Welcome to Skywalking Through Neverland, the podcast that pronounces the word orange correctly.
No, it's orange.
Let's move on. We are the family-friendly Disney and Star Wars podcast that brings you fun-filled stories from creators and fans. And I want to say a big hello and a big thank you to all these scope walkers out there. Hey, for tuning in. And thanks to everyone for sharing on our Facebook group and listening and just coming along with us on our adventure through fandom.
That's right. Oh, we love it.
I am Richard, and now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, and I've got to ask her the question, is it safe?
Is it safe?
You're talking to me?
Is it safe?
Everyone, what am I referring to? I'm asking her, is it safe? Oh, someone got it.
Scott Rifen says Marathon Man.
Is it safe?
I can't tell you if something is safe or not, unless I know specifically what you're talking about.
All right, so Sarah, why am I asking you, is it safe? What did you do on Sunday?
I ran a half marathon.
And there's our connection to the Marathon Man.
Oh, okay.
You're a marathon girl, okay?
Does he run a marathon in that movie?
You know what? I haven't seen this one since college, so I don't know. But when you mention Marathon Man, you don't ask if he's run a marathon, you ask if it's safe.
Okay.
Everything else is superfluous.
Okay. I think. Well, some of the scope walkers got it, and they're laughing at you with you.
So I ask you again: is it safe?
Yes.
And why is it safe?
Because I don't know why. Why is it safe?
I don't know. I just want to hear what you were going to say.
Oh.
What kind of Marathon Man reference were you going to pull out of your hat?
I don't know because I've never seen it. So
if this were a Marathon Man podcast, I would be very disappointed. But it's not. It's a Star Wars Disney podcast.
That's right. So we want to say hello to our Star Wars and Disney family who are listening to us right now. And some of you are watching us on Periscope right now. And we love it. And we thank you so much for supporting the show throughout all of social media, all the time, every week, and we love it when you tweet at us at Skywalking Pod when you're listening to the show, or if you happen to be in our Facebook group, if you comment about the show in our group. We love that.
We sure do. Do you know what else we love?
What?
The fact that we are recording this from Long Beach, California on September the 6th, 2016. And you know what? It was 24 years ago today that I packed up my sub and drove from Newton, Massachusetts, all the way to Los Angeles.
Wow.
On this very day.
24 years.
24 years ago
Which means
today.
You've definitely lived here.
For almost a quarter of a century.
That's exciting.
I know. I just realized that when I saw the date there. Now, let's talk about another anniversary that's coming up.
Okay.
Let's tie all this together. Our 3rd year anniversary.
Yes, of the podcast.
Of the podcast, yes. It'll be our 3rd year going into our 4th year of Skywalking Through Neverland. And hey, guys, we're trying to figure out a way to celebrate this monumental event.
Yes.
So what do you guys think we should do?
Yeah, should we dig back in our hat and ask you guys what were some of your favorite episodes?
We're thinking about maybe going through our old notes and going through some of the old titles of the shows.
Yeah, like what we were thinking of calling this, or, at the very inception of the show, what were our first thoughts and comparing with what it has become, basically.
Right. And also, it would be fun to do like a new tradition. And that's where we ask the fans, where do you think Star Wars and Disney will be 1 year from now?
Yeah.
Like, what will the reception be for Rogue One? What are your predictions? What's going to be your predictions for the new Episode 8 trailer that's going to be coming out in December? What will the new Star Wars Land first announcement be? When we were brainstorming this idea with our friend Dave Scale at Denny's 2 a.m. A couple nights ago,
Yes.
we were thinking, what could we do? And Dave came up with this prediction idea, which I thought was a very fun idea.
Yes, definitely.
So what do you Skywalkers and Scopewalkers think? I like this. So let's start our yearly tradition on our anniversary. Everyone write in. They can not so much tweet in, because tweet is just such a limited thing. Maybe email. Someone says they like it on one of our Scopewalkers. So what do you guys think? You tell us. You can go with any topic you want.
I do like 1 year and 5 year is what Christopher Marino is saying. Do like 1 year and 5 year predictions.
Right. Okay. Well, you know what?
Perhaps.
I like that too, but I think it's going to be more manageable to do it every year.
Right.
Instead of every 5 years. So whatever you want to throw out there, where are we going to be in a year in terms of the fandom? Or what do you think Rogue One is going to do at the box office? Will it do better than The Force Awakens? So any predictions you want about Star Wars or Disney, go ahead and email them in.
Okay, and email them to share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. That was my cue.
All right, good deal. So I knew I wanted to tie in all this anniversary stuff and do something, and there you go. I found it.
Yeah.
All right, now, coming up on this episode, back by popular demand, we have The Little Rascal,
The Tinkerbell animation model,
convention sensation,
and now the author of Tinkerbell Talks, Tales of a Pixie Dusted Life. It is our Fairy Podmother,
Miss Margaret Carey. We just sat down with her a couple days ago, and it was so much fun. Wow, can she talk?
She can talk the ears off a Gundark.
Yeah, she can. Yes, and a Rancor and an Acklay and
a Hoojib.
And a Hoojib too. And those are pretty big ears. So yeah, it was really, really fun. And while I was going through the segment to edit it down, it's like I don't want to cut anything out.
No, her voice, she is just so adorable.
And
she's like everyone's grandma.
And she's a storyteller too. So every one of her stories has personality. It has different characterizations.
And a point and a trajectory as well. So yes.
It was a lot of fun. So we sat down and talked to her all about Tinkerbell Talks, her book that's been in the making for 13 years.
Wow.
So lots and lots of fun. We also have shout-outs, a Skywalker of the Week, and things we want to share. And we're going to go over Sarah's RunDisney experience. And we break down the John Williams concert that we just saw last Sunday at the Hollywood Bowl. Many Skywalkers there too. Hey, Skywalkers that came out and to see John Williams.
Yay.
Now, before we go into all that, let's announce the winner of the foreign dub contest.
That's right. Okay, so here is the clip we played just last week.
Om maður kemst ótrúlega langt á útliðinu.
And now, who has the prestige of being correct?
It is Jennifer Kreinbrook. Congratulations, Jennifer. You were the closest. So you actually messaged in because you didn't use Twitter. So she asks, is the clip French? And the scene is from The Little Mermaid where Ariel is talking to Ursula. Well, you got that part right. Ariel is talking to Ursula. It's when Ursula is saying...
She's talking about the body language.
Yes. Body language.
All
Ha!
Right. Now, here is the clip in English.
Your pretty face. And don't underestimate the importance of body language. Ha!
And then what language did you pick this time?
That was Icelandic.
Icelandic. How are we supposed to get that?
Well, that was hence the contest.
Okay, so only... Who's the Icelandic singer? So only Bjork would get it.
Yes. And if Bjork had been listening, she would have gotten the whole thing correct. But she missed an episode.
Or if she was listening, she didn't tweet at us.
Right. Bjork, come on. Show some Skywalker spirit, would you? All right, now, with that, let's get into Things We Want to Share.
Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share. Things we want to share.
First up, it is the Disneyland Half Marathon that happened over this Labor Day weekend at Disneyland. And fresh off of my Tinkerbell Half Marathon in April, I had to sign up, or I think it was May, I had to sign up for this Disneyland Dumbo Double Dare challenge because I had never done the Dumbo Double Dare challenge, and I was high on endorphins from the Tinkerbell Half. And
that's how they get you.
It's true.
That's how they get you.
Well, what was miraculous was there was still slots available, which usually those go really fast. So I don't know why, because the race had been out for a while, to sign up, but there were slots available and I signed up.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah.
I myself did not. I'm gonna rest it out until the Doctor Strange 10K in November.
Yes. So, for those of you who don't know, the Dumbo Double Dare is actually running a 10K on Saturday morning, which is 6.2 miles, and a half marathon on Sunday, which is 13.1 miles. So a total of 19.3 miles, and you get an extra medal with all of that. So you get a total of 3 medals. It's very exciting. And the hardest part about all this, if you're trained up like me, is actually getting up that early in the morning twice.
Getting up in the morning once is hard enough.
Yes, it's true. Well, you know how it is because you've gotten up for the Star Wars halves and stuff like 3 days in a row, and that's really hard.
Right. So now with the 10K, that was the one on Saturday.
Yes.
Now, was that just a breeze for you? And what were the highlights?
Okay, so the 10K was actually Aladdin themed this year, which is part of the reason why I wanted to sign up for this particular year's race, because every year they change the theme. And I was super excited because I love the genie, I love Aladdin. Jasmine is a beautiful princess, so I figured it would be really fun. And for this particular 10K, I would say that over half the participants were in costume, and it was fabulous. There were genies, women and men. There was Aladdins, there was Jasmines, and there were several magic carpets, which was so much fun.
Now, how does that compare to the past years? Because I know there's lots more costume restrictions, and even when you were signing up, we went down to the expo and there were like signs everywhere with costume restrictions.
I think people are still doing well with the costume restrictions. Like, you're not going to get those awesome groups of TIE fighters, with the ties outside of their bodies and stuff like that. Or I know when we were doing the 5K Star Wars 5K, there was a Star Tour. Someone had like the Star Speeder.
Yeah.
Like this big giant. So there's no longer any of those costumes.
Glad we did our BB-8s when we did, because we couldn't do those now.
You can't do that anymore. So there's still lots of fun, creative costumes that I've seen. In fact, Wally and Eve were some of the most creative that I saw this time around. People had basically built up on their heads, like some of the like Eve and Wally heads, and they lit up, things like that. Some people were like the Tron,
light cycles?
Well, even the people with the Tron thing on their back. What is that called? The round?
The discs?
The
power discs of doom?
Like the life disc? I don't know what it is. But
I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, you had it lit up in the back.
But now you said people were dressed up as the magic carpet.
Yes!
How does that work?
Well, so my friend Luella Loriola, she was there, and she was the magic carpet, and what she had done was an identity disc. That's what it is. What Luella had done was actually order a microfiber towel of the carpet. So it had the carpet design, and she added the tassels on the tops and the bottom and had them tied to her wrists and her ankles.
I'm so surprised they let them do that.
Well, I don't know. There was a bunch of people, and some people even had it like a double fabric lining. Like, she just had her front, which worked out great and was great for running. But some people had like double fabric around them. It's like, wow. Oh, that seems kind of hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I might be making this up, but I think I saw a secret squirrel holding up signs saying, "Have you seen this man?"
Right.
It was a picture of me as Crimson Jack. They were not going to let me get in this time.
It's true. Oh my goodness. Well, Luella happened to be with a group of friends who they got totally into the theme and actually ended up on the RunDisney video, the video that the recap video. They ended up at the very end of that recap video in front of the castle, like a picture of them. So they had Jasmine, Aladdin, Abu. Luella was the magic carpet. I'm trying to think and there was the genie, of course. Her friend was the genie. So that was really cool. And as we were all walking to the corrals, we saw 2 people dressed up as camels. And as I passed them, I was like, that's an awesome costume. And they said, watch out, we spit. Which is a line from the movie. It was awesome. How did they do that?
Did they spit?
No, they didn't.
We're all
they
good
didn't
then.
spit.
We're all
but
good then.
I got a great picture of them. And as I was running through the race, I came across a naughty Jasmine. So at the very end of the
movie... They let a naughty Jack... They wouldn't let Crimson Jack in? Where is Secret Squirrel?
No. But naughty Jasmine is when, she's pretending that she's turned into liking Jafar. And she's in a red outfit.
Okay.
And like
so this is not one of those costumes that we would see down on...
No, I just meant
Melrose on Halloween.
she's the naughty Jasmine in terms of the movie, in terms of what Jafar tried to change her into.
Okay,
so,
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
Slave Jasmine.
Oh, don't say that. People will complain.
Yeah.
There's a dad out there ready to shake his fist.
Uh-oh.
So what was the best costume that you had seen?
Probably... Well, first of all, I dressed as Rapunzel, running Rapunzel, because I had that outfit ready to go. The best costume, I don't like to say a best because I really liked the carpets. I thought, man, I wish I had thought of that.
You're playing it safe.
Well, maybe. I don't know. I just hadn't really thought about my favorite. Honestly, my favorite moment of the race.
Okay,
Can I go into
let's go to that.
Okay, my favorite moment of the race was they were having pictures. They have pictures with characters periodically throughout the race, and Judy Hopps was one of the pictures that you could take. So I was so excited, and that's my money shot of that particular race was because when I got up in line, the cast members are there to take your phone and take your picture, and I just told the cast member, take as many pictures as you can. So she basically pressed down the button and did the shutter mode. Well,
it's funny seeing all your running pictures and you're holding your phone.
Yeah. Well, during
every single shot, you're holding your phone.
Usually, you don't see a lot of pictures of me when I'm running out in the streets, but when I'm running through Disneyland, you might as well not put it back in your cuff.
Right.
You might as well just hold it because you take so many pictures. At least
right.
I do.
So now let's get to the nitty gritty here.
Okay.
When did you see Star Wars Land?
Oh, okay. So during the 10K, it weaves from backstage to into Disneyland to backstage to into DCA, kind of like that. And one of the backstage areas, we weaved around, and all of a sudden there was a fence. And you knew that it was the backside of Star Wars Land right there. And luckily, Secret Squirrel was nowhere in sight. And I got some...
He's slipping.
Yes. I got some awesome pictures of the dirt that is Star Wars Land.
Oh, nice. Was it more like Jakku dirt, Tatooine dirt?
Oh, goodness.
Was it like Utapau dirt?
Utapau, sure.
Geonosis?
Well, it was very manicured dirt, so I'm not sure.
That's more like Tatooine.
Okay, Tatooine.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of machines and stuff. So I was steps away from the hallowed ground of Star Wars Land, right through the fence. So, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so excited.
So how close did you get to it? Could you walk up on it?
Well, no, I mean, there was a fence there. I know there was
a fence, but
without the fence, I could just walk
right through.
Over.
Okay, all right.
If there was no fence there, I would be in Star Wars Land. There was no steps or anything.
Yeah. I thought maybe the fence was around the driveway part as you're running backstage, since the workers need to get there. They wouldn't put up a big fence, but that would make sense if they would.
We were actually at the, what would you call it? The east end of Star Wars Land, like the northeast end of Star Wars Land.
Okay.
At that point, we were running past that area. Right where the OK Corral used to be.
So right now it's all dirt. Did you see any kind of cement being poured?
Yeah. In the distance, you could see those cement walls that were up. They're like walls though. It's not cement on the ground yet.
All right.
And there was a big hill though, so you couldn't see much. And there was some working equipment, like the big machines.
Right, the big cranes and power drills.
Yeah, so if you look at my page, Sarah Woloski on Facebook, I put a whole album up there of the 10K pictures, and in there you can find some Star Wars Land pictures.
Now, did you beat your times for the 10K or the half?
No, I did not. In fact, for the 10K, I don't know what, I didn't stretch a lot or something, but the first 2 miles I was kind of sluggish. And I would say the Tinkerbell half marathon, I had a much better time for both races. But this race I really enjoyed. And I always take the time to take pictures and take pictures with characters because that's what you're paying for. You're not paying to rush through this race. You're paying to enjoy the atmosphere, the ambiance, and being in Disneyland and backstage at hours you normally wouldn't be if you were at the parks regularly.
And didn't you say that someone did the half marathon like an hour and 2 minutes?
Hour and 6 minutes this year.
Why would you do that? You're going to miss everything.
I don't know. It's crazy. But I do want to mention that I did run into several Skywalkers at the 10K.
Oh, please tell.
Yeah. So Randy Crane of Stories of the Magic, who was just on our last episode, I was actually running in mile 2 out on the streets of Anaheim, and all of a sudden I heard a voice, and I'm like, wait, I recognize that voice. And I just passed by Randy Crane. And I said, hey, I recognize your voice. And he's like, yep, that's usually what happens with podcasters. So I ran with him and his friend for about a mile there. And we took a picture at mile 3 marker, which unfortunately it didn't turn out. It looks like Randy's a ghost. You can't really see his face.
I didn't see him.
I know. It was sad. But I was excited to see him. And also, at the very end, the last 50 feet of the race, Samir Bakta, he ran right by me. And we had met him through liningup.net.
All right.
Yeah. So that was exciting. And then later on that day, as I was going to the parking structure, I went to the familiar spot where you overlook Star Wars Land and take more awesome pictures. And there was a father and his daughter standing there. The daughter was dressed in her Universe lightsaber skirt. And I'm like, I bet they're looking at Star Wars Land. And I walk up there and it happened to be Kylo Reed, who is at Baja Chaser on Twitter, and his daughter, which we have met them before. And they were looking out over Star Wars Land. So that was really neat.
And we met them at the Star Wars Day in San Bernardino last May.
Yes, we did.
Oh, that's great.
I know.
That's fantastic. And now the second day for the half marathon, you were Sorcerer Mickey.
I was so inspired by all the costumes at the 10K that I decided to go home, and instead of taking a nap on Saturday, I went and whipped up a Sorcerer Mickey outfit.
You went to the costume room and just kit bashed everything.
I did. In fact, my hair for Rapunzel the day before became my rope belt for Sorcerer Mickey. I love that. So we had a super awesome time, and I got up early once again. And so the half marathon itself, the running was fun, but the corrals where you wait before you run, I have some interesting stories to tell there.
Okay.
So, for one thing, I met up with Luella again and her friend, Sean, and they were dressed as Moana and Maui from the new movie Moana, and they're
ahead of the curve.
Oh, yeah, they looked amazing. So it was really fun to, be next to them. Everyone was taking pictures, and someone complimented them on their costume, and he mentioned that he had worked on the film. And it happened to be a special effects artist.
Was it The Rock?
No, it happened to be a special effects artist who worked on Moana. So that was really cool. And then another woman complimented me on my Sorcerer Mickey costume as we were waiting. And I noticed she was wearing this awesome running shirt with BB-8 on it and a Rebel symbol on the sleeve. Well, it turns out she was part of an official triathlon team, which that's really awesome enough. I mean, having watched the Olympics, I know that triathlon is crazy and it looks cool. But then she happened to mention that she was also a Disney Imagineer.
Oh.
And her
of
name,
all places?
I know. Her name was Ruth, and she could neither confirm nor deny that she was working on Star Wars Land. But she did tell me that she loves her job.
That sounds like a confirmation.
And yes, and that her triathlon team was made up of her as BB-8, one of her friends who did the swimming was R2, and C-3PO was the biker. So I thought that was really neat.
Oh,
so she loves Star Wars, and she loves her job.
That's great. It's always fun to meet Skywalkers or meet other people who all have the same common interests.
Yes.
Even though it's like 1 a.m, you all get together and just talk, and it doesn't even seem like it's in the middle of the night.
Exactly. So I do have one note for the half marathon, and because I was wearing the Sorcerer Mickey costume, and we happen to have those big Mickey hands that you can buy at
Mickey mitts.
Yes, the Mickey mitts. Well, as you know, if you've ever run a half marathon, during miles 6 through 9, 10, you can kind of get a little, it drags a little bit, right? You can lose your energy, you're flagging, you're out in the streets of Anaheim, but there are a lot of groups that, like cheer you on. And as a runner, you can actually be, get energy from that, right? So I had my Mickey hand. And I held it out whenever there was a group of people, and I would run past them and give them high fours as Mickey, and I just got an extra boost of energy. So I recommend that for anyone who's maybe running a half marathon. You can lose those energy, but just take the energy from the people who are cheering you on, and that's a great way to do it.
And they have those cheer squads.
Yes.
Every block, either a band or a little orchestra, people handing out water or candy.
Yeah, anything.
A little bit of anything. Or just someone there with a cowbell.
Yeah, cowbells, there were a lot of those. Just families,
just trying to cheer you on, wake you up. People handing out some Starbucks lattes.
Well, not that, but some people hand out Twizzlers and orange slices and
I love
pretzels.
the orange slices.
Yeah,
the
pretzels
orange
as
slices
well.
are the best.
No, I like the orange slices. Those...
I never got one of those.
No, they were great.
Mine were always orange.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so you know what? Before we wrap this up, tell us how this race compared to the Star Wars race and the Avenger races. How were the participants? How was the energy?
Honestly, I would say it was about the same. I was in a good group of people, a good lane. I do my half marathon in about 2 hours, 40 minutes, something like that. So it's mostly runners that you're with. Like sometimes if you get far back in the corrals, you can be stuck behind a lot of walkers that aren't going quite your pace. But because I was in, a corral that was pretty close to the front, I was happy where I was. It was definitely my pace, my speed. And I would say that the costumes are really fun because for a Disneyland half, it's so broad of a of a theme that you can get very obscure things. And there was people dressed from Pixar movies.
What was the most okay, so this was a Disneyland theme, not just Disney movies, Disneyland specific.
People take the movies. They do lots of
Joey's gonna be a volunteer for a Skywalker cheer
squad. Oh, that's a good idea. Well, right. they do the movies. A lot of people do movies,
right.
And like there was someone who was dressed as a villain for both the 10K and the half. Like different villains, and on his back it said 7 villains, 7 races, coast to coast. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So what was the most obscure costume?
Well, obscure, I would have to say the funniest costume. I'm going to go with that.
The funniest
would have been the Tower of Terror bellhop attendant, and he was in that outfit, and he was carrying a sign that said, out of work. Need work, 12 years experience.
Out of work bellhop.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It was hilarious. So.
Oh, great.
Now,
we always wrap up the Run Disney segment discussions with what did you learn this time that you'll take toward your next race? And you kind of already answered that with bring a big Mickey mitt.
Yes! I don't care what costume you have. The Mickey mitt was awesome. And judging from what ended up on the Mickey mitt afterward, don't go barehanded and high five people.
Yeah.
You never know what's on people's hands.
That's why they always have that sanitizer at the end of a high five row.
Yeah.
The last person has hand sanitizer.
So the fact that I was high fiving people with my Mickey mitt made it a lot more sanitary for me.
All right. So for the Doctor Strange 10K, we will definitely be bringing a Mickey mitt.
Yes.
All right. Now, should we move on to the John Williams concert at the Hollywood Bowl?
I think we should. And let me just say how surreal it was to, at 4:30 a.m. on Sunday, be at Disneyland running a half marathon. And that evening, we were at the Hollywood Bowl watching John Williams live on stage.
Yeah. Oh, you had a full day.
Yeah.
A full day of awesomeness.
It was amazing.
All right, now let's get into this. This was the John Williams Maestro of the Movies at the Hollywood Bowl concert last Sunday, September the 4th. And what a great time this was. And we met so many Skywalkers there.
Yeah, especially from our liningup.net family of friends right there. And Kai Charles was there, Craig Hasis and his family, Mike and Owen Sanders.
There are Hey Hey Squad.
Yeah, exactly. Aw. And Sean Crosby was there as well. Opie Sean.
Yeah, and Owen didn't have his BB-8 button, so I gave him mine.
And I also met someone who listened to our show. He is from the Wretched Hive podcast. So that was cool. Podcasters meeting podcasters. And we did also see, who was the celebrities we saw?
We saw Nigel Lithgow from So You Think You Can Dance and American Idol.
He was in those box seats.
And it was rumored that J.J. Abrams was there.
Yeah, we didn't see him, but we heard other people who saw him. So.
Yeah, I was kind of looking forward to doing a follow-up interview from our last time.
Right.
But as much as we looked, we just didn't see him. That was only rumored. Only one person said that they'd seen him, but who knows?
Yeah, it's true.
That could have been anybody.
We didn't meet him getting drinks for his family this time, which I don't think he could do that anymore.
No,
honestly.
not at all.
I think he'd be mobbed.
Yeah. So this was the third night of this concert series, and it was a sellout. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that the crowd was very enthusiastic, including one gentleman who came with an awesome Krennic costume.
Yes, Director Krennic.
Yeah, yeah. We were doing something. We were right in the middle of something. He walked by and it's like, "Hey, Krennic!" But he didn't hear us or whatever. He kept walking by, so we didn't get a picture.
Right.
He had the flowing cape. He just didn't have that cut right in the middle of the cape.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, he looked the part. He had the costume looked perfect.
It was amazing.
I wish we could have gotten the picture.
Ah, well.
But the concert started, and David Newman was the warm-up act.
Yeah, he did the first half of the concert, basically.
Yes, he was the warm-up.
Uh-huh. And he's a film composer in his own right. And
but yeah, he didn't play any of his own stuff.
No, he did not. He did not. In fact, the last thing that they ended up... Well, should we go in order here, or what should we...
Yeah, let's tell you about some of the selections that he had conducted.
Okay. Now, for this concert, they have a giant movie screen up and a bunch of other movie screens around so that they play...
The Jumbotrons.
Clips. Yeah, they play clips from films while the film music is going on, sometimes. Like, not
and
for the
they'll
whole
even show
concert.
you some footage of the orchestra as they're playing, because when you're sitting so far back, there's like little aspirins down there.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, so they had all these screens, so they would play clips as they would conduct the music for these films, and they always start off with a big montage. This was like a salute to Paramount Pictures.
Yeah.
So they had all these Paramount Picture clips going on.
But the music that they played was to Forrest Gump. For the entire, they played like the Forrest Gump suite, but then had clips from all different movies that made me really want to go home and like watch a bunch of movies.
Now, my favorite selection that David Newman did was from The Godfather.
Ooh. Because
I was trying to figure out what instrument that was.
Yes.
The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Right. It almost sounds like
an accordion.
An accordion, but there, as far as we could tell, there wasn't an accordion on stage.
No, and you would have thought they would have gotten a close-up of someone playing the accordion.
But they were playing clips from The Godfather.
Well, and they would cut in some footage of the orchestra playing.
Right.
And I could never discern what instrument was playing what part of the theme.
Okay.
So that's the part I really like, when they show you so I can put together an instrument for someone like me who's got no musical background. I can put together an instrument with a sound.
Right.
Because every once in a while I'd lean over to you and go, hey, what's that instrument?
Mm-hmm.
So that was really, really exciting to hear that played. Because that's such a, it's not like a grand Star Wars theme, but it's so involved with so many unique,
The Godfather,
unique
timbres.
What's the
instrumentation?
Instrumentations, native instruments from Italy.
Yeah, so unique instrumentation.
Okay, there you go.
That works.
And what was your
World
favorite selection from David Newman?
Well, one of the very last things he did was Star Trek Into Darkness. They played the opening of the movie and the very first scene where what is it? Chris Pine.
Kirk and Scotty are running from those clay people.
Yeah, they're in the volcano. They're trying to...
They're on Mustafar, and it's going to implode, and the whole world is going to explode.
Yeah. So they play that entire scene, like, I think it's over 6 minutes or something, with the soundtrack, the live soundtrack. And if J.J. Abrams was in the audience, we were watching Star Trek Into Darkness with J.J. Abrams. So, I was excited.
Yeah. So that didn't last all that long. He wasn't up there. It didn't seem like he was up there all that long. Because he knew why we were there.
That's right.
For the maestro himself,
John Williams.
The Rob Dellinger of film composition.
Oh, I see where you're going there.
There you go.
Yay.
All right. And he first opened up with a theme that we normally play here on Skywalking Through Neverland during our shout-out segment.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And it was Hook.
I was like, hey, they're playing selections from the new Skywalking Through Neverland Awesome Jingle Mix Volume 1 album. But no, they were playing Hook. My mistake, my bad.
It was the flying theme from Hook, and I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, it's an odd choice to open up the John Williams selections with.
It's great. It's fabulous.
It was great, but
no buts. It's John Williams. No buts. No.
Okay, no buts.
Okay. All right. Now, one of my favorite things, though, the next song he played, we weren't quite sure what it was from, but after it had finished, we kind of determined it must have been the BFG because we had never heard it before. So
you kind of had that fairy tale, grim sound to it,
and then it had the flute solo things, which is all over the BFG. So
right.
But the next song really got me excited. It was the Asteroid Field.
I think
the Asteroid Chase.
One of the best themes all around
right.
for all 7 Star Wars movies.
And
one of the best.
I was super excited to see it live because if you read the liner notes for the Asteroid Field, they actually added horns and piccolos and oboes to the instrumentation for that particular track in the liner notes. Here, I don't think they added it, but the LA Philharmonic did an awesome job of making the Asteroid Field come to life. So they had the piccolos, you could hear the horns, you could hear everything, and the piano was surprisingly loud in this one.
That piano player, that woman, she could really bring it.
Yeah,
and
it was
she
great.
did. And of course, that started off the whole Star Wars selection of about 85% of the John Williams portion of the concert, which was awesome.
And we did get some sound clips.
Yeah. Here right now is a clip of John Williams talking about Episode 8.
But particularly with the performance of the young lady who played Rey, or Yvonne, who is now known to us as Daisy Ridley. And I think, I'm not sure if this is right exactly, but I believe it was Daisy's debut in major film. I believe that's true. And I was completely smitten with her. And so a few months ago, when Disney and Kathy Kennedy, our producer, asked me if I would write the score for the next Star Wars film to release next year, I thought, yeah, I think so. But then I very quickly said yes, because I didn't want anyone else to write music for Rey. Very true.
Now, of course, that's something we've heard before, that he didn't want anyone else writing for Daisy Ridley but himself, because he's got a crush.
Yes. It was quite clear.
Yeah, and it was, speaking of the piano player, she played that opening, what do you call it, riff of Rey's theme on that I don't want to call it a piano.
Well, no, for that, is Harry Potter, she used the glockenspiel.
Right, but now, was the glocken, she had like the electric piano, she had a little organ.
Okay.
She had like a piano that was like 8 instruments in one.
Wow. Okay. I'm not sure then.
It had different, it wasn't just your average piano sound, it had different sounds to it. Because when she played Harry Potter, you had those little fluttering bells, right? And she had Rey's theme. She had that very, almost like the Ewok sound that he used for the Parade of the Ewoks.
Okay. I honestly, I didn't pay as much attention as you did.
I love to watch the instruments play because I love thinking, how did that piece of equipment make that beautiful sound? It was awesome.
I get hung up on watching the brass play, so
and
that's
then
what I watch.
During Rey's theme, we're watching it, we're getting into it, and the lunkheads behind us,
they started talking. That was the one. Well, throughout the concert, there was some people talking. You're outdoors. It kind of happens.
You're drinking.
You just kind of go with it. But for Rey's theme specifically, this was the first time we were hearing it live with a live orchestra. So I had to turn around and say, "Hey guys, for this one, shut up."
It's like big guys too.
Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, I didn't even hear them.
Oh, okay.
What I could hear was the guy next to me going,
"Oh, I'm sorry."
And I offered him a tissue. That was my way of saying, that's really distracting. And he looks at me and says, "Oh, no thanks."
Oh.
No, you're not reading what I'm putting down here. Your breathing is very loud. In fact, I heard the clips that we had recorded, and you hear him as loud as you would hear Darth Vader breathing.
Oh no. Oh.
But I was very proud of you to turn around and tell those guys to shut up.
I did it nicely.
You know what? There's a thing. When there's a nice, beautiful piece of music and it's quieter sound.
Yes.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Just stop talking.
Yeah. I understand during the bombastic.
They were talking to when they played, not we, but the orchestra played the Imperial March. All right, everyone's up and waving their lightsabers around. All right, I can see that part there. Now, speaking of the lightsabers,
yes,
this was something unusual that John Williams had mentioned.
Yes, I loved this.
All right, this is something I'd never known. So let's play this clip of John Williams saying how we're one of a kind.
I've been conducting here at the Hollywood Bowl now since 1978, so it's 36 years, I think, every Sunday. And I want to mention it to you, because this thing that you do with the lightsabers, it's nowhere else in the world. What you have created with this unique experience. It is so beautiful, actually. So thank you all for this. It's evolved over 30 years.
So apparently we're the only city to wave around lightsabers during a John Williams concert.
Now, I don't know if that's particularly true, but I know it's probably the most at one time.
Yeah, well, I say city because I know down in San Diego when they had the Force Awakens concert last year, people brought their lightsabers.
Well, no, they were given lightsabers.
Right. Oh, that's very true.
That's true.
But I think what his intention was when he goes anywhere else in the country or the world, people don't wave lightsabers.
Either that or not as many people think of it. I mean, at this point, the Hollywood Bowl is a tradition. We almost forgot our lightsabers. We had to turn around and go back home to get them because we were like, oh no, we forgot our lightsabers. So unless you're thinking about it, you don't think to bring it.
Which is why there's a little lady with a shopping cart right outside the door of the Hollywood Bowl selling these $10 little cheapies, but in a pinch they're gonna work.
She even had Kylo Ren ones too, though.
Wow, this woman was on it.
That was really neat.
So that was really something unique that I had never known.
Right. Yes.
And it made everyone feel very, very special. Because when you do look out into the sea of lights, there is something very magical about that.
It's beautiful.
It looks like the Clone Wars arena battle from Attack of the Clones.
It does. It does, only at night.
Right. That was great. Another little tidbit of a story he had told, that when he was writing Princess Leia's theme, he was thinking about a hot, torrid love theme between Luke and Leia. How can I really escalate this?
Yeah.
And George Lucas at that time could have said, hey, you know what, Johnny? Let's step back from that. I can't tell you why, but let's not go that direction right now. But like John Williams says, George plays it close to the vest. So let's go ahead and hear that clip now.
In 1977, when George Lucas made his first Star Wars film, none of us working on the film had the vaguest idea that there was going to be a second or third or fourth film. And George, as a writer, always played his cards very close to his vest, and we never quite knew what was coming as part of the surprise, and the surprises continue today. My first experience with Luke and Leia was in that film at that time. And I saw these two lovely young people, and I assumed that they were going to be lovers later. So George had nothing to correct me. So I wrote what I thought was a love theme. It's called Princess Leia's theme. And it's presented in the French Horn. It's a love theme, and the orchestra develops it. And there's a kind of a almost torrid climax at the end of it. Not suitable for what I found out 2 years later. So I had to write another theme later when I knew their real identity as brother sister. But here is the original Princess Leia's theme, under the shroud of ignorance that I was under then. Before the first film.
Yeah, so I just don't think that George knew at the time.
No, and I think John Williams seemed almost chagrined that he had written something like that with whatever was in mind in his thoughts when he wrote Princess Leia's theme.
Yeah, in the end, it really does build and build to this hot and heavy. Well, okay. If you want to go there.
Well, that's what it's called in the music. I'm just saying.
In music, huh?
Yes.
All right. So it was a great time. His encore usually starts with the Imperial March, but he played that during the body of his set.
Set, yes.
Okay. So what did he play for the encore, Sarah?
Well, he played Superman. Oh, which always gets me because Superman was my gateway drug into film music and into John Williams. So the fact that, he played that theme is like, oh.
And that just gets everyone up and going. It's such a powerful theme.
It is. And I loved watching the brass playing that. And they hand off the melody to different, the horns, the trumpets, even the low brass get it. So,
But you know what? That theme is a slow build.
It is.
It's like a minute before it gets into the crux of the theme.
Right. But it's amazing to watch live, especially the timpani. Remember the timpani?
Oh, I love the timpani.
He had a ton of stuff to do during Superman, so he was right behind the brass, too. So.
Now, I got a question about that.
Yes.
I could see him reading his sheet music.
Okay.
Did the sheet music just say, hit
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
For a timpani, the timpani actually gets music, the 5-line music like we do.
Right.
Yes. Like any instrument does, because he actually has different tones to his 4 or 5 timpanis.
Okay.
So he needs to know which one to press. So that means he gets the actual music staff.
I thought maybe it just said hit here.
No.
Hit a couple times here.
No, the other percussion will get that, like snare drums. They'll have like a line or two, but then it'll be just the rhythm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what did they close out the whole show with?
With E.T. Aww, it was lovely.
Now, as much as I don't like to hear people talk during concerts like this, it was fun to hear the guys behind us. They were like the generational group. There was like the grandfather, the father, and the son.
Yes.
And they were telling stories about, hey, Joe, this is the movie where you were scared of E.T. when he was in the closet and had all the toys around him. And yeah, Dad, I remember that. Thank you for telling everybody.
Yeah.
So it was fun to hear those kind of memories.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing, I don't mind.
Right.
But it's just the heavy breathing, and when you're talking about something totally different other than what we're watching, that's when it gets on my nerves.
Now, was there anything that you missed?
Now, someone just asked about an Olympic theme song.
Yes.
No.
You did not play that.
You know what? That would have been very timely.
That would have been.
Well, 2 weeks ago, but still.
Right. Still, he did.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Yeah. No Olympic theme. And for the first time ever at a John Williams concert, they did not play Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's true. So that's what you were missing, and I was missing Jurassic Park. They didn't play Jurassic Park. So, but I mean, he's written so many awesome themes to so many things.
All right,
that it's really hard to choose.
If he had shown me his set list, I would have said, you know what, BFG. Let's get out of there. Let's put in Raiders of the Lost Ark there. Maybe Hook. We can throw in some Jurassic Park. And you know what? Let's try to wedge Jaws in there somewhere.
Oh.
Or even like a medley. When you don't have time to play one selection, do a medley. That would have been fun to hear going from, let's say, the Parade of the Ewoks to the Jaws theme to the Jurassic Park theme.
Maybe.
I don't know. Can you read my mind?
Oh, well, I would have loved that. He did play that one year. That's my all-time favorite song ever. And he did play that one year.
They did play a medley for Star Wars during an 8-minute selection. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Which started with the throne room theme.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome. That was awesome seeing that up on the big screen. And it made me want to watch all the Star Wars movies again.
Yes, including The Force Awakens, which we haven't watched in quite a while now.
So we get that. Gonna put that on our list.
Yes.
For sometime very, very soon.
All right. Well, that was so many things we wanted to share. We've gone for almost 45 minutes.
Yikes. All right. Well, you know what? We had a lot to share with the Skywalkers.
We did.
We leave no Skywalker unattended.
It was an awesome weekend.
Yeah,
Let's
it was.
just say that.
Shout outs, Skywalker shout outs. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland. Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photobombed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
It was once again revealed on our last show that I have very little knowledge on sports. And Russell Flores, he points that out.
Yes, but in a nice way. He let us know exactly where the term Grand Slam originated. And funnily enough, when he said it, I realized, oh yeah, I know what a Grand Slam is. But he mentioned that it comes from baseball, and it's when there's a person on each base, and then the next batter hits a home run. So then all the people on the bases run home, and you score 4 at once.
All right, I'm still confused.
Oh.
And it was funny that Russell didn't want to put this out on our Facebook group because he didn't want to
sound condescending.
Yeah, I was like, no, Russell, everyone knows that I know nothing about sports, so please, educate me.
Yeah, so only in baseball does it mean, scores, home run, but I think Grand Slam in other sports means you win, different big events in that sport.
So, Russell, you hit a grand slam in telling me that I know nothing about sports, which is fine by me.
Yeah. And now we also want to thank our Skywalkers, of course, our Skywalking Through Neverland Awesome Jingle Mix Volume 1 by Rob Dellinger came out last week.
Now on sale through all the digital outlets.
Yes, it is digitally released in a wide release, so it's available on iTunes, on Google Play Music, everywhere, and people were posting on social media that they had purchased it. So we want to thank Chickafent and Greg Scott, who is at GScott1847. And also, I believe Rick Peralta's, the Peraltas also bought it as well.
Yeah, I love how all the Skywalkers are supporting each other.
Yes, it is super exciting. So we want to thank you all for doing that. And if you haven't yet, go check it out at least on iTunes. And that is Awesome Jingle Mix Volume 1, Skywalking Through Neverland. Or you can just search Rob Dellinger and it'll pop right up.
And once again, we are the only podcast that I know of that has a soundtrack. I can't say album anymore. A soundtrack release.
It's a soundtrack. Yeah, we have our own soundtrack.
We have our own soundtrack.
It's pretty cool.
Now, speaking of Chickafent, our cruise buddies, they wrote in to tell us that the cruise line that we talked about on our last show,
the Disney Cruise Line,
they do have specific merchandise.
Ooh, and I guess they were on a Halloween on the High Seas cruise, and they saw Halloween on the High Seas merch. I know you hate that word. I'm sorry.
Merch. Merch. Not that I hate it. It's just that,
Yes.
So this is very promising that this cruise line that we're going to go on in September of 2017, they're going to have their Halloween theme happening.
Absolutely. So, Skywalkers, if you are just tuning in and you want to know more about that cruise line, we talk with Randy Crane, who is just setting up everything for us on episode 134. And that's the episode to listen to learn all about the Disney Cruise, September 2017.
We will see you there.
Now, this next shout out I'm super excited about because it shows that Skywalkers really support Skywalkers.
Yeah, like we were saying, everyone's supporting Rob Dellinger, and now who's supporting who?
Well, last episode we also spoke with James Jawa, who is
James Floyd,
and he is doing his Wear Star Wars Every Day 2016 campaign for charity. And so Kai Charles tweeted at James Jawa, "Just listen to you on Skywalking Pod. We'll be contacting you with a shirt donation for Wear Star Wars Every Day." So, yay!
Fantastic.
Skywalkers supporting Skywalkers. I love it. Now, in the last episode, did we mention that cats were dogs? Do we remember this?
Cats are dogs?
Well, we got some tweets showing us pictures of their dogs and saying that they were cats. So, I don't remember when we said that, but apparently we did because Amanda Bakken, who is at Jedi Kyrie on Twitter, she posted a picture of her puppy and her, and she tweeted, "My cat, Finn, and I. Also loving my new Skywalking Pod BB-8. So she had done a selfie, and her Finn was sitting on the arm of the sofa, and she was wearing her Skywalking Pod BB-8.
Whenever someone can send in pictures of themselves with their pets, whether it be dogs, kitties, bunnies,
it's amazing.
We love it.
Yes.
All right. Oh, here we hear once again from Chickafent.
Oh my goodness.
Chickafent emails in and says, Even though it's not Star Wars, thank you so much for spending time talking about Stranger Things. Like so many others over the last couple of months, my family really got wrapped up in this show too. It was such a great summer treat. You made the experience even sweeter by having Glenn Ellen Anderson on to share her experience being with the cast and creators of the show. It's the first in-depth discussion from a cast member that we've heard, so thank you for bringing this to the Skywalking family.
Aww. Well, thank you, Chickafent and Skywalkers. That's on episode 133 of Skywalking Through Neverland, so check that out.
Yeah, you can also check out the next Fangirl Chat, where we all have a big discussion about Stranger Things and which way we think the season 2, the sequel season, will go.
Yeah, so that Fangirl Chat will be out soon, and that is, of course, the Fangirls Going Rogue, so Trisha, Teresa, and I, and Richard, and also Erish Shonovice.
Yeah, great discussion, and it's fun to hear it from different points of view from different generations.
Yes,
Since
it
this
does.
was taking place, this Stranger Things series was taking place in the 1980s, 83. So I've got a huge connection to that year, since that was the year that Return of the Jedi came out.
Mm-hmm.
So we all have our different connections to the year, whether or not we were born. Or just 2 years old.
Exactly. All right, I think it's time to announce the Skywalker of the Week. Congratulations, Luella! I want to thank you so much. You adopted me and your group of friends for the 10K and the half marathon this weekend, because I was all by myself this time. So we all happened to be in the same corral, so it worked out great. And I got to take pictures with them, and they had just incredible costumes that not only made the Disney Parks wrap-up, the RunDisney wrap-up video, but they also made the Disney Parks blog as one of the main pictures. So that was really awesome.
All right, but let it be known that I was there in spirit.
Oh, I know you were, sweetie. You know what you were doing? You were
Sleeping.
You were making me breakfast.
And I was making breakfast.
Once I got home, I had awesome breakfast. So I want to thank you for that.
Someone's got to do it.
So thank you, Luella, and we hope to see you again at the next Run Disney race.
And thanks again to Rob Dellinger for composing yet another Skywalker of the Week jingle. And we all know who Rob Dellinger is, right?
He's the John Williams of podcasting.
Our Fairy Podmother and the original Tinkerbell reference model is back. Margaret Kerry is here with us now to talk all about her new memoir, Tinkerbell Talks, Tales of a Pixie Dusted Life, which is now only a few weeks away from its official release.
However, many lucky fans who attended a special collector's copy event at Walt's Barn in Griffith Park on August 7th, you may just have picked up a rare first edition printer's proof. So everyone, spread your pixie dust and help us welcome Ms. Margaret Carey.
Hey, Margaret.
Oh, what a beautiful introduction. Your guys, you should keep doing this. You're getting better and better and better. Remarkable.
Well, we're just coming on to our third year of doing this, so
see?
Getting better and better.
Folks, give them another couple of years and you will be amazed.
Yeah.
No, sincerely, thank you. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Now, going back to episode 26...
Yeah.
This is episode 135. You were on episode 26. You were just starting to tell us about your book that you were writing.
Well, that was, 13 years ago when you started?
Episode 26. Wow, I think that was 2014.
Well, you know,
2014, in April.
I have a friend of mine, Linda Swisher, who at the moment is double-checking the proofing again. We'll get into that story, but she said, you didn't put quotes around this chapter, and you did about the last chapter title. And I said, Linda, I did that 4 years ago. I think I changed my mind.
And it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind.
So
yes, it is.
We now call her Miss Consistency.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's going to make everything consistent. I said they won't recognize my book.
So how many years have you been working on Tinkerbell Talks?
Well, actually, it has been about 13 years, believe it or not. I started out with the idea of I was going to make it into this beautiful sort of scrapbook. Scrapbooking had come in, and we were going to have the background on each page like a scrapbook, and then a picture, and then the story, and so on and so forth. And I found out that it was $21 a book to have if I bought 50,000 of them. So I went, I don't think that's quite the idea. So I dropped it for a while, and I was working here at KKLA. That's where we're doing this interview, my favorite radio station over in Glendale. And then I picked it up again about 3 years later, and then I wrote something, and my daughter, who is also editing the book, Christina McCarty-Genter, she said, "Is this going to be a sad book, Mom? Is this going to be an angry book?"
Oh, no.
And I said, "Oh, no." That's exactly what I said. How did you know? And I said, "Oh, no." And I read it, and it was.
Oh.
And so I dropped it again. And then the next time, I had this grandiose idea of the way it was going to have deckled edges. It was going to be this. It was going to be that. And somebody said, "Margaret, you're getting on in years. Don't you think you should just get it done?"
Oh, wow. Who said that?
My son. So, and he was right.
But is any artistic endeavor ever done?
Not this one, because I have the one that's, what do they call it? Printed on demand.
Yes.
Well, I found out because of the hoopla with my first printing here, I found that you can stop everything and send in another chapter and change it.
Oh.
Yes, as you go along. I thought, that sounds like me.
So if someone buys it beforehand, you can still just send in another chapter and change it?
Uh-huh.
And the next person who buys it will get the new chapter?
Uh-huh.
Wow. My goodness.
I would let them know, of course, because you put a little number down and said, this is, they say first edition, or I think it should say first try.
Yes. But it sounds more formal when you say first edition, and you can ask for more for it.
I know you think so. But when you said memoir, what I ended up with are very short chapters that are most all of them are very funny.
Okay.
There's a beginning, a middle, or as they say in Toastmasters, a muddle, and an ending. And Bob Gurr gave me the most beautiful review the other night. And it was out of the blue. I had no idea that he'd been reading it. And it's the kind of book that was just for entertainment. I'm an entertainer. I'm a storyteller. See, I was adopted when I was 3.5. I found my family 50 years later, found out that I was Scots-Irish, a storyteller down to my toenails. And I then figured it out. I'm a talker. And so the whole book is that you pick up a chapter, you read it, and you say, "Oh, I love it." And then you can put it down and then go about your business, pick up and that's what he's been doing. And he gave me the nicest compliment because it's written as I talk. I have ... dots in the book. Like, wait a minute. No, it goes the other way. That kind of thing. Or you might be, in one place it said, "Dear reader, you might be the one who skips around, so I have to repeat this." kind of thing. And he said, but I loved it. He said, "Margaret, you don't tell us a story, you put us in the story." That you were there because it started I was born in 1929 and caused the Depression, and everything went right downhill after I was born. And they put me to work when I was 4, and I've been working 83 years, and I've loved it, and I'm an entertainer. So that's what this book is. It's a memoir, yes, but you don't put in the memoir that you were accosted in the nicest manner at an animation company by this little man named Archie Ivy, who says, I gotta have 7 minutes of animation in 10 days. And they're telling me, "Ma'am, you're the only one that can do it. Can you do it? Can you do it?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm telling him, all the things." I said, "What is it for?" He says, "Well, it's for George Clinton." It's for a Funkadelic.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I thought, what's that?
Yeah.
He was so surprised I didn't know it because they tour every place with it.
Okay.
And so I said, well, I could try. So I was up for the next 10 days driving cells that had just been painted from Glendora all the way into Hollywood to a camera department that was staying open through the night to photograph it so that we could then take it to the lab, et cetera, and match it up to the music that they already had. And the best part about the story is I made it. On Friday morning, I made it. And this was a touring group. And, no offense, but a man named Archie Ivy with an afro that he had to go through the doorway sideways, you're going, and a touring group. So I told my husband boss, I said, get the money. Those are the rules with a touring group. They can't give you a check. They have to give you, if they do, it's what is it called? Cashier check. Or cash or whatever. Those are the rules of the County of Los Angeles. So I said, don't give him this. I had not even seen it because I had to go off to another meeting. I was this sort of salesperson, which I wasn't very good at it, but I was the one that they had. So anyway, Richard, get the money. Okay, I got it, he said. And so I went off to wherever it was. And I came back in the afternoon and I said, Archie Ivy here? Yeah. Got the money? No.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He didn't have it with him.
Oh.
What?
And I'm going,
It's in the mail, huh?
no, they can't do that. So
That was their excuse.
So
Check it in the
anyway,
mail.
I'm saying I go over to their office on Sunset Boulevard at the Sunset Strip, which is not a city-owned property. The county runs it, so they go by the county rules. And so these people, the touring groups, rent an office for a couple of weeks or a month, and then they leave. I mean, everybody knows it. That's the way it works. Nobody's doing anything underhand.
What time period was this?
I'm sorry?
What time period was this?
Oh, I don't know.
Is this post
40s
Tinkerbell?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, because it's post Mermaid, that's when I went into voiceover work. So
Right.
I worked with him. And so I go over and I'm thinking, he's gone, and I am just fit to be tied. And you can be fit to be tied if it's your husband, boss.
Right.
So I get into this nondescript building and I look down this long corridor that goes to the very back of the building. And there are fellas who must have been 9'7" standing on either side, holding up the building, talking about this, that, or the other, or whatever it was. And I'm 5'2", right? And I stood out. So I went down and I'm looking at this little bald man who's sitting behind a desk. And a battered up desk because it's a rental desk. And I said, I'm looking for Mr. Archie Ivy. Oh, he gone. And I thought, oh, shoot, I knew it. And I said, well, I'm Margaret Kerry, and I'm the one who produced the animation that you used a couple of days ago at the shrine. We love it. You're the little mama that did that? And I said, yes. Oh, hey, fellas, this little mama who did that. You stopped the show. We had to play it twice. He says, it was wonderful. And I'm going, well, I'm feeling better by now, as you can imagine. I said, well, Mr. Ivy didn't have the money with him, so I came to collect it was $3,000. Oh. I says, and then the door opened, and George Clinton walked out. Very nice looking man, really, well-formed. You notice it. Very husky, but a well-formed man. And he said, what is going on? And they said, this here's little mama, He said, really? And he shook my hand. He said, it was wonderful. And I said, well, thank you, because I never saw it. Oh. And he said, what you want? I said, well, Archie said $3,000. He says, well, give it to her. Oh. So he opened up this little old drawer in the middle of the desk that could hardly it was broken and all. And here were the rolls of cash with rubber bands around because, of course,
Did you feel like a bandit?
They took it all in for the tickets, naturally. So he says, this one looks about right. So he hands it to me. And then George Clinton said, well, we like it so much, give her $300 more.
Wow.
Back in those days, that's a king's ransom.
So I got $300 as I'm walking out, and as I'm going out, one of them says, Mama, it was witching. It was witching as I walked out.
Wow. Have you ever thought about repoing cars?
35 years later, I'm over at a Hollywood celebrity show, and somebody says, George Clinton's across the aisle. You got to go see him. So I went over, and I chatted with him a minute, and I said, I'm the one. He says, we're still using it.
Wow.
After 35 years.
My goodness.
And I said, well, I've never seen it. And so, get out your droid, he said. And they showed it to me on the droid. I hope it looks better on stage than it did on the droid.
That's funny.
So if anyone wants to see this video, where can they go and catch it?
Have no idea.
Okay.
I'm sure if we Google Margaret Kerry, George Clinton.
No, I don't think so. George Clinton, maybe. But the point was, those are the kind of stories that are in my book.
Okay, so it's not just about Tinkerbell. It's like your whole life.
Tinkerbell is part 4.
Okay.
And how I met Mark and talked to Walt Disney and all of the different things that happened working with Bobby Driscoll, et cetera, et cetera. And the trip to London that Disney sent Catherine Beaumont and I on, and what happened over there, and about Mindy Johnson and how she was our shepherd. I never would have made it through that trip without Mindy. She was just wonderful. And then there's a wonderful part, I think, that you will like. If I have the book with me, the marked up book, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yes.
That was...
Did I just see a picture of Julie Andrews?
No, that's me.
And the next page looked like her. Is that her?
No, that's me
That's
with
you?
Mark
Wow.
Davis.
You look like Julie Andrews back in the day.
And that's me too.
So
that is a little rascal right there.
Skywalkers, if you get this book, there's all kinds of fun pictures in
There's
there.
about 80.
Wow.
So let me get the right one so I can pick this out. And I'm the one who cast Peter Pan, the model for it, and I cast a model for Captain Hook.
There you go. So
And
all
how
those
that
stories
happened.
are in there too.
All those stories. Now, let me get the right one.
But I'm glad that it not only talks about you as Tinkerbell, but your whole life has been so interesting. So, it's really amazing.
As Bob Gurr said, and I hope people know who Bob Gurr is, a legend, a Disney legend that did the monorail and all the designed so much of Disneyland and the lights for Michael Jackson for his show, etc. But on the back of it, I'll give this to you in a minute. Let me finish what I'm doing here, and you'll have a lot of editing to do.
I got to ask you. I hope you're doing the book recording,
50.
the adaptation on audiobooks.
I just want to get the book done first.
Then she'll think about that.
I'm supposed to do it right here at KKLA.
Oh, yeah?
As a matter.
Oh.
Yeah. 208 is the page. All right. The reason I'm bringing this up is, and we can do touches of it if you like. Okay, I also have a page in here that says, or a chapter, I should say, and the title is My Mascara Fails, Tink Becomes Animated. And when I was called up into the projection room with everybody to watch her be animated the very first time, and I have pictures of what they used. It was pencil test, and then how it came out in the movie finally. And I'm sitting there watching it go over and over again, and I'm going, and then I realized I was sniffling because I was crying.
Oh.
I had done all this work, and this was the first time that I'd actually seen her animated. And I took my handkerchief out, and it was all black. And I realized I was a mess because my mascara failed me. Anyway, Mr. Disney was there, and that story again. There's a big thing in the book. I was brought up to be in awe of a studio head. They were like God. You hardly ever saw them. If they ever came near you, you stopped everything that you were doing. And as a dancer said when I was working the Fox movie as assistant dance director there, Georgie Jessel came on the sound stage with all the dancers and his entourage and so on and so forth. And everything stopped. And this dancer behind me, she said, "Should we curtsy?" I mean, that's what you felt like. Well, Walt Disney, bless him, was never, ever, 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 ever like that. And in the projection room, it was crowded. I did not realize, having gone on to other things that I was doing, that there were many on the lot that thought that Tinkerbell would not work.
Oh?
That she was too curvy, that she was too everything, etc. And so they came to see. And I heard this door behind me open up, and I heard somebody say, "Oh, here, Walt, take my seat." Huh? And you heard the voice that everybody knows, "No, I'm fine." And I went, "I'm fine?" In the other places, they would have silk draped across 4 chairs, and if you took one of those chairs, your head would roll, that kind of thing. It was amazing to me. And it still is pretty much to this day. I mean, Disney's, you can walk up to John Lasseter and start chatting with him as he's walking down the sidewalk. It is so different. And you could do the same thing really at DreamWorks. Okay. DreamWorks was built along. But the others, it was like Warner Brothers used to say to me, "Well, come on in, behave yourself, and we may let you stay." That was the feeling that you got.
Yeah, I think these studios now are being run by the kids who grew up on the movies.
Yes, yes.
That they're now working with.
Yes, and people get I'm all over the place. I'm sorry you're going to have a wild edit, but I've had people who are upset because there are people at Disney who don't know who I am.
Oh.
No, seriously. I said, wait a minute. You get a 23-year-old who is coming in, and often they're the head of a department now because they know all of the digital stuff and doing all. How could they know? Give them some slack. And I said, it's up to me to go and see them.
Right.
Oh, okay, but they should know. Anyway, I have on chapter 50, it's Who is Tinkerbell Really? And one of the things that I point out on that, and I brought my little book about baby names. I take this with me every place that I go because names are so important. Do you know what a tinker is?
Someone who works on things, like makes things, pots and pans.
Do you know what a tinker is? It's okay because most people don't. Because most people don't. We have a nice man sitting over here. His name is David. I'm going to ask him. Do you know what a tinker is?
Someone who makes bells.
No. Well, it's very important to know why she's called Tinker Bell. And so I start off with that. And James M. Barrie was born in Kirriemuir, Scotland, in the Angus County. And he was back in, 1889, I think, something like that. Anyway, it's the late 1800s. And he would see a tinker coming. A tinker is what we used to know as gypsies. Oh. They're now called travelers. There's quite a few of them up in San Francisco, as a matter of fact. They live by the side of the road. But one of the ways that they live is by repairing things. So at the risk of being a school marmish, you couldn't run over to Home Depot and said, "I'll buy a new skillet, a new iron skillet." They had to be repaired. In fact, they were so important, they were often put in somebody's will. Yes, you couldn't cook. Mm-hmm. So tinkers were very important people. They were outside of the whole village, but they came in usually with these big, heavy wooden carts with pots and pans hanging off the sides, so you could hear them clinking again. You could hear it way in the distance, right. And a big old horse or a mule pulling it. And so then people would say, fix this, fix that. So he gave her a very important job to do. And did you notice on the Tinkerbell and the Fairies movies, they always have her doing a job. Mm-hmm. I argue a little bit with the going to work to 9 to 5. I don't see Tinkerbell doing that. But besides that, it gives her importance. And it's important for names. Names are so important.
Right.
And so when I talk to children or grown-ups and they come to my table at the different places, the first thing I say, what is your name? And they'll say, Sarah. And I say, with an H or without an H? And they go, without an H. And I go, oh, yay. Because it's so important.
Do you say "oh yay" with an H as well?
Yes.
Okay.
But don't let that get around. Okay. All right.
Don't worry, we haven't started recording yet.
But for example, I have a grandson who is now 39, if you can imagine. And when he was 17, I didn't know I was going to let him live for the good of America. I mean, it was pretty touch and go. Oh. He was bewildered and bewitched. He had no idea what was going on. So he called me up. He says, Graham Tink, I'm Mike from now on. I'm going to be Mike, not Michael.
Did he really call you Grandma Tink?
He still does. I'm Graham Tink. That's what awesome. I am to the whole family. Graham apostrophe Tink. So anyway, I said, Michael, your name comes from 2 wonderful sources. Micah, the prophet, and El stands for God, like Joel, Gabriel, Daniel, those all have God. It means who is like God. If anybody needs God in their life, it is you. Oh. You are Michael. And he says, yes, ma'am. He's been Michael ever since. And he tells people about his name.
Wow.
So I bring my little baby book and I say, what does it mean? What does your name mean? Well, Clarion comes from the name Clara and means clarity. It means clearness and with the sound of a trumpet. So anyway, Tinkerbell, and I've gone on much too long, but you have good scissors. You can cut. And then I asked, does she really love Peter Pan? Is she really jealous of Wendy? What is the other? There's a couple of other questions, and it's my take on who is Tinkerbell. And then the next chapter, and then I introduce a lot of people to the face model for Tinkerbell. Okay. Yes.
Oh, that wasn't you? I didn't know that.
No. Oh, it's a wonderful story. You got a minute?
Sure. We should probably start recording this.
Nah. Well, Mindy Johnson was the greatest researcher I have ever heard. She's wonderful. She did the great big book, The Evolution of Tinkerbell.
Wow.
Which is just a great book. Anyway, there was a picture of Williams. What is his first name? He was with the Musketeers, the big heavy-set fellow. His first name... I want to see Kenny Williams, and that's not right. Oh, he's famous. Anyway, we'll find it. So anyway, of this fellow, who is an animator at Disneyland, and there's a woman posing as he has the storyboard or the character board from Mark Davis in his hands. And nobody knew who she was. So Mindy, in her own inimitable way, sent out, I've got to find out who this woman is.
Yeah.
And... serendipity. I love serendipity. I live by serendipity. She found out. A friend of hers was at a party walking by a group of people, and he heard this one man said, my mother was the model for Tinkerbell. So he went back and he says, who was your mother? And Ginny Mac. It was the name. She was working at Disney's at the time. So was her husband. And so they got in touch, and I have a picture of Ginny and Mindy and Alice and me together in the green room. because she was introduced to everybody at a D23 program that Mindy did. And it was, she's adorable. She is just the cutest little bundle you've ever seen in your life. So I introduced her in here. She did a lot of the face work to start with, about 11 years before I did any of it.
Wow, goodness.
Well, there was this pause
Right.
with Peter Pan, where the war came in between and all these things were going on.
Yeah.
And they had locked down, but they hadn't locked down. So this cute face of hers, I must say that now, at this moment, my face looks more like Tinkerbell's than hers does. But she has the sweetest smile. Anyway, so
Did you know when you were doing Tinkerbell that they wouldn't be using your face?
No, they used my face all the way through. You see, but you have different steps in getting models. You do the live model who may not even move. They just pose. I did that quite a bit for the 7 movies. Well, the first 2 movies that they did with the fairies.
Oh, the fairy movies?
Yes, I would
The
go
recent
over
ones.
it and just do one little thing or just sit while they got the idea. So people got the idea of how I moved, etc. But what I did in front of the camera was the last, let's say, if I say last or final, that sounds really dead. Anyway, that's what they used with the animators. And I found out from Alice,
Alice Davis?
Yes, Alice Davis, that Mark did most of the animation
Right.
on Tinkerbell.
Davis.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought several different animators did it. Well, they did, but not really. He did the key scene.
Right.
So
They were the in-betweeners.
yeah. Well, no, he had a couple that actually, as a matter of fact, there's one scene, if you look for it closely in Peter Pan, it was pointed out to me that she's off model, but it goes so fast. Kind of thing.
So Ginny Mac only did a couple of the reference shots before you came in?
She did. They took pictures of her. Where they found her was in the picture archives. So it was Roy Williams, and he was They went to the back lot, which wasn't hard in those days because it was almost all back lot. And he was standing there, and he perched this beautiful lady, a slim trim, on a stool. And they took pictures of her as supposedly he was drawing her face. He was not. It was a publicity kind of thing or whatever. And she didn't really know what it was for, she said.
This is Ginny Mac.
It was Ginny Mac. They finally found her.
Ah.
And I'm so glad they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Oh.
All right.
But anyway, some of those are in the book that way.
And it's obvious that your book is sprinkled with pixie dust. Is that right?
Absolutely. Here's another one. You might like this one. Okay. I have always believed in serendipity. And this is in my last chapter, the final chapter. There we go again, last and final. I have 33 more stories for another book. I don't think I'll ever be able to do it. But anyway, the last chapter is about my friend Linda Swisher and how we became business buddies because of serendipity. She came up to the table and she said, "Do you think we could work together?" And I knew it was a moment because I was going no place. This was fun, but how long could I do it? She knew what she was doing, having been a vendor and all of this stuff. And I said as quickly as I could, verbatim, I said, "I think that can be arranged." And she gave me her number, and I gave her my number, and we've never looked back. But I keep talking about serendipity, which is really pixie dust as far as I'm concerned. Also providence. Well, serendipity comes from a fellow named Walpole in the 1700s who came up with the word serendipity. And it comes from a very famous myth of the 3 princes of Serendip. That was the name of their country. And they were forever stumbling over and finding things that they didn't know they needed. And that was the whole story. Wow. So that's what happened to me. I didn't know that I needed Linda.
Right.
You know, I didn't know that they would find out that this man was walking by and heard my mother was the model for serendipity. I met my husband, Jack Wilcox, over at Old North Church in the cemetery, Hollywood Cemetery, Forest Lawn. I looked down and here was a sign said they held church services. And I said, that's for me. It's noon on Sunday. I can sleep in. You know, God knew all about it. So anyway, it was serendipitous. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Now, other people, I love them. They pick up and they make it happen.
Right.
They just do. I have sat back and been sprinkled with pixie dust serendipitously all my life when I looked back. And that's really the theme that runs through, because I'm very excited about life. I'm very excited about what's around the corner. And, you know, Tinkerbell is too.
That's perfect.
Let's now talk about your Printer's Proof event at Walt's Barn last August the 7th.
Oh, gadzooks.
You know, ordinarily, one person would order one printer's proof of a book so they can proofread it, but you ordered 175.
Yes, I did.
What happened?
Well, I am an internet imbecile, and they should never let me loose on it. And I didn't know that you could ask anybody, and I'm doing it through Create Space. That's because Mike Rounds, who is my shepherd, who has been doing all of this, and will rework the book because we lost the proofed version. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. Anyway, I'm working with him, and I'm getting a little bit too cocky. And he said, so we're all set, so you can order those, and we'll get proofs of them. And so I looked at it, and I looked at it, and the words didn't mean the same to me. They just didn't. Those are words like, well, I can give you an example. The word swipe to me means to steal something. And when they tell me to swipe my card, you know, I have to change my mode of thinking. And that's not just one of them. But on the internet, they now ask me for my password code.
Passcode, right?
Password code.
Huh.
No, it's password. And I say, do you mean password? Well, yes. And I'm thinking, they changed it yesterday? I don't know. But so I put in my password, by George, it works. But they have a new name for it now. They have a new name for this. They have a new name for that. So anyway, I looked at all three of these that I could click on. And it just seemed to me that that was the one. It said proof, right?
Yes.
So it must be the one that we proofed.
Okay.
And it says printer. So therefore, printer's proof. Yeah, that makes it okay. And I saw nothing to talk about ordering one.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, I'm going to do the launch, and it goes to Kansas City, 175. I wish I'm glad you weren't there when some books were delivered to my house.
Oh, no.
And when I opened up and I saw this book, and the opening on it, where they, first of all, they put the wrong page in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And when it says, all the legal stuff, where it says, first edition, first printing, printer in the United States of America.
In the what? What does it say?
The United States of America. That's what it says.
This was printed back in 17 what?
I don't know. And it got worse and worse and worse.
Oh.
So I called up Linda and I said, what do I do? What do I do? And she said, don't panic. Don't panic. So she called up some of the people that, have been fans for years and friends.
Yeah.
They said, we want one. Where do we get it? 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 So we called up the barn and we said, this is the problem. Bring them over. Bring them right over. So we did a launch of all of these books. As I say, I think I have 6 left.
Wow.
Wow.
So they're now called collector's copies.
Yes.
And you sign each of them,
Each
right?
one. Each
Absolutely.
one.
I've seen a bunch of people on Facebook have been posting their copies with your signature, and they're so happy to get them.
I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned, and I hope there was no naughty words. I can tell you that after going through it. But anyway, it was my fault. So then we went back because I'm flying to Mount Airy the end of this month to do the Andy Griffith show. And I've got
that's been canceled for decades.
And they've got lots of Tinkerbell fans now, a whole bunch. So I will be getting books there. So we had to order some new ones. So I had Mike sit right next to me, so that we could do it. And they can't find it. They cannot find the proofed ones. They evidently, I hit another button.
Oh no!
And off it went into cyberspace
to Neverland.
To Neverland.
So anyway, it'll take 2 days, but I have to tell you, a serendipity. Some of the pictures didn't come out the way I wanted. I'm exchanging the pictures.
Perfect.
Yes, some of the. I think I could write a little paragraph here better than it was. I have back pages. I'm going to read something to you in a couple of minutes, but I have back pages in this, and one of the why I put them in were pictures that really didn't go anyplace, and people that I love. I actually have a copy in here of the letter that Dave Smith sent from archives to my daughter to said, of course, it was Margaret that was Tinkerbell.
Wow.
I found it.
Wow.
And so it's copied there. And on top of that, I hope you can see it way over there. You folks, I'll get close to the microphone. It's a picture of Walt Disney, but it's a portrait when he was about 28 or 30, and it's his real signature at the bottom. And it is the last picture in the book. It's my gift to everyone. It's a portrait taken in a studio.
Wow.
Is that not something?
Wow.
That is.
Yeah.
That's the actual signature right there. This is really cool. This book is, how about 400 pages?
Yes, over 400 pages.
And it's nice and thick and lots of pictures in here. Like, Skywalkers, you need to get this book.
It's a 7 by 10.
7 inches by 10
yes,
inches. Yeah.
And did you
see
a
beautiful picture of you on the front.
Yes, and that was Howard Green over at Disney's 13 years ago, said, that's what you must have on the cover. Then I sent it to Ron Diaz, who has since passed, and he's the one who did the rest of the cover. And I've had that cover for 10 years.
Oh, perfect.
I didn't have to worry about it.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to read something to you on the back. Are you about out of...
We have time.
Okay. On the back... There's a picture of me as Tinkerbell. There's a picture of me being spanked by Charlie Ruggles. There's a sketch that Joel Seibel did of me as a little girl looking like Tinkerbell. It's adorable. There's pictures of me in Our Gang or the Little Rascals, the Lone Ranger, the Clutch Cargo, the Three Stooges as the Mermaid. And you know that they write on the back of books.
Yes.
Quotes that people say how great the book is. Okay. This is a quote. Of the 2 books I have read, this is my favorite. I give it 2 thumbs up. Captain Hook. And here's John Darling. An exceedingly out of the ordinary book. I must study its ramifications immediately. Miss Carey, I tip my hat to you. And this one is from The Crocodile. Miss Carey's book is great. It tastes just like chicken.
So now, how many of these do you have left?
6.
6. So if anyone wants to get one of these exclusive collector's copies, where do they go to get it?
It would have to be to Linda Swisher.
Okay.
And it's Gifts by Small Fry. It's all one word.
Gifts by Small Fry.
By Small Fry at roadrunner.com, or they can go to tinkerbelltalks.com and they will see that address on it.
Okay.
The date and the button to order it have not been put up yet because the book probably will go to press on the 16th.
September?
Of September.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what's the official release date now?
For the proofed copy.
For the official.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know, but they turn it out so fast.
Okay. So beyond the 6th, so somewhere after September 16th?
I would say in about 6 days after that.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's a good bet it'll be this month in September.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I'm taking them up to Mount Airy. And we have about 10,000 people up there, and I'm doing a Tinkerbell meets Andy Griffith show up there. So where I tap dance and I tell stories and I read from.
How many episodes of Andy Griffith were you on?
2. I was on the Christmas show, which is probably the most favorite show of the whole series.
Yeah.
And I was on Andy Forecloses. And I was Bess Muggins in one and Helen Scobie. But one of the reasons that they love me is because almost everybody else is dead. You know, I'm. Now, darling Betty Lynn just had her 90th birthday, and she lives there. Oh. So she comes.
So they don't love you by default.
Yeah, I tell them that, and they love it. Well,
I was going to ask you, can you read like a paragraph from your book just to hear your voice, just to give everyone a kind of a preview?
Let's see. Hang on. I was adopted when I was 4 and put to work in the movies, which was a very interesting thing, but a very peculiar thing. And I had a Hollywood mother named Good God Grace. I was 6 years old before I knew that her name was not Good God Grace, because that's the way I always heard my father very patiently say to her, "Good God Grace, have a little faith in me." Well, she would do very odd things, at least to me, as you could understand, and she would say things like, "Peggy, you've got to work hard so you'll be somebody." She always meant well. However, her motivational ploy confused me. Be somebody? I already was somebody. Did I have to be more than I was? Evidently. Of course, that's not what my mother had in mind, but that's what I heard. Oh, if children could only know that adults have unfulfilled urges, that strivings that they really have kept bottled up for years. So some years later, it became so clear to me that my earnest little mother wanted to be somebody herself. She was truly frustrated and must have felt that I was wasting my opportunity. Trained as a violinist, my mother told me once, during one of the few times she ever reminisced, that she had been highly praised by her teacher. They said that she had the gift of magic in her left hand. I heard her play only once. Visiting Aunt Lily Hook, an ancient family friend, I wandered off, and on an old sideboard, propped up in its tattered black case, I spotted a battered violin with one string missing. I carried it into the living room to ask about it. "Oh, let me see it," Mother said. She carefully held the grungy-looking instrument by the neck and took her ever-present handkerchief to gently wipe off the dust. We all watched her pluck at the 3 strings while fussing with the rust-tinged ivory pegs at the top of the instrument. She had tuned it. Amazing. Mother tucked the violin under her chin, readjusting it to fit more comfortably. Then lifting up a very tired-looking bow, she brought it down lightly on the strings. She began to play something slow and lovely. It was beautiful. Mother was very, very quiet the rest of the afternoon.
Oh.
Wow. I really hope you're going to be the one to read the audio version of this.
You can see I have a hard time.
So that was kind of like your mother's unfulfilled dreams right there, right?
But she would do the strangest things. She moved my birthday back 6 months.
Wow.
So I thought I was born on November 11th, Armistice Day, till I was 15. I mean, it just, okay.
I just want to comment that it sounded like you have an aunt whose last name was Hook. Any relation to Captain?
No, they're very good, Aunt Lily.
Yeah. So now, when people want to follow the progress to see when the official release is going to be, they should go to
Facebook, I would imagine, and my website.
Okay, so tinkerbelltalks.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you are on Twitter as well.
Am
at
I?
Tinkerbell Talks. You
Oh,
are. You
I'm so
retweet
glad.
things. You retweet things that I post.
Really?
Yes.
That was David Dirks.
Okay.
Yeah, he did all of that. Bless him. I have no idea. And poor me, I mean, I love people, and they all send him, may I join your LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah.
And I keep
No
thinking,
one knows what that is.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, yes, of course. However, I don't have a history on it at all or a picture.
Right.
So I'm going to get somebody to do that. If you are a speaker, and that's what I would like to do next year, is start speaking at schools and libraries and places like that. Now I are a author, you know, that's
yes.
That you have to have that, because that would be the first place that they would look to see whether you are, you know. I spoke twice at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Mm-hmm. And I got standing ovation at the end.
Of course you did.
Can I tell you why?
Why?
I happen to be a libertarian. And the reason I became a libertarian was because the Republicans and the Democrats 100 years ago kept jamming my mailbox with all kinds of literature. And I thought, who would never send me a piece of literature? The libertarians. So that's why I joined them. And you know what? They never have. So anyway, I finish up, when I do my shows, I read a scene from usually the nursery where Peter comes back for his shadow, with different voices for Peter Pan, for Wendy, and for Tinkerbell. And so I ask them, the audience, please, to stand up and stretch, and then turn around twice and pretend they're in their jammies and settle back down into their chairs. So I'm there at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, and I said, now stretch, please. Oh, feel good. Now turn around twice. No. Turn to the right. Never turn to the left. Well, it cracked them up. And then at the very end, where I said, now I need help, because you have to call out the ending of this. It takes faith and trust, but verify. And so I did it again, and they're all yelling, but verify, of course, which is his famous phrase that he always used, trust but verify. And then they all scream back at me, and pixie dust. Aww. All of these very staid docents and in their uniforms. Yeah. So we did it twice, and I loved it, and I'll probably go back now that I have a book.
Nice.
Oh, great.
That goes with it.
Now, finally, what do you hope people will take away from your book after they're done reading it?
Laughter.
Oh.
Absolute laughter. I want them to know that Tinkerbell's life and my life is just each day. There is a saying in there, one of my favorite sayings, if I can get it out right. Blessed are we who can laugh at ourselves. We will always be amused. And that's the whole thing. We laugh at ourselves. Mm. But that one of my favorites in there, the very last motto that I put in is one that I like. because it starts out with the shadow of Peter Pan. But this is mine. My son's is in there when I asked him, okay, Smarty Pants, what's life? And he says, life is a conflict of interest.
Oh, boy.
And so I put it in there. I think it's great. Mine says, living my pixie dusted life, I have learned a curious thing. Only I can cast my own shadow. And it's true. I smile, I laugh, that's the whole thing. And I think I bring that to people, and certainly Tinkerbell does.
Well, if that doesn't want to make the Skywalkers go in and get Tinkerbell Talks, Tales of a Pixie Dusted Life, I don't know what will. Margaret, thank you very much for joining us once again.
Well, I'm delighted, and thank you for your patience as we're taking bits and pieces. You know, folks, they have to edit this up one side and down the other to make sense out of what I talk. They're so kind to me. Listen to them. They are kind people.
Nice.
All right. That was only about 10 minutes. Well, that wraps up episode 135 of Skywalking Through Neverland. We would like to thank Margaret Carey and all you Skywalkers for listening.
Each and every week. And thank you, everyone, for sending in your Skywalker stories. Oh, this is an ongoing series, so we want to hear more Skywalker stories. If you have a story to tell about your fandom, it could be funny, it could be heartfelt, it could be happy or sad. It all makes you the fans you are today, so we want to hear those. So please email us in a summary of that story to share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com, and we can schedule a recording with you.
We all have stories to tell about our fandom, and we just want to hear them from all the Skywalkers. We want to share them with everyone. So please send them on in, because we love doing these. People just come from different parts of fandom, and it's great to hear from all sides. And if you have just a quick Skywalker moment, we just got a recording from Matt Clifton, who said, hey, was at a panel, someone recognized me, I recognized them.
Yeah.
And there's your moment.
It was great. That'll be coming out in a couple weeks.
Yes. Now, speaking of a couple of weeks, we have some meetups in a couple of years.
A couple of years and a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. So November 5th of this year, we will be at the Rancho Obi-Wan event in Petaluma, California.
You know what? Should we say that we're going to be at Disneyland? I know this is very last minute.
Oh.
But we're going to be at Disneyland this Friday, the 9th of September, for their big Halloween
That's very true.
theme.
Oh, their Halloween opening.
Halloween opening, yeah.
Yeah,
kicks
Halloween
off.
time kicks off.
Yeah. I was just talking to Anthony Fox. He's going to be there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so more the merrier. And I know this is last minute, but I don't think we even really knew we were going until a couple days ago.
No, we didn't.
All right, so you were saying about the Rancho Obi-Wan event.
Yes, that's happening on November 5th up in Petaluma, California at Rancho Obi-Wan. And also the next weekend after that, November 12th, we are running the Doctor Strange 10K. So expect a meetup that weekend, most likely that Saturday, since we're around.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. And of course, the following year in January of 2017, on the 15th of January, we will have another Skywalker birthday meetup.
Woohoo!
All centered around the Star Wars half marathon.
Oh, it'll be so exciting.
And my birthday.
And your birthday. That's right. And of course, 2017, September 17th through 22nd, we are doing a 5-night Skywalking Disney cruise to Baja, Mexico on the Disney Wonder, which is so exciting. And now we just learning that it might be Halloween themed, which makes it even awesomer.
Awesome.
So to get more info, just head to storiesofthemagic.com/cruise quote.
And we'll see you there. And we'll also see you over there at retrozap.com. Man, I love my segues. Where you can find shows like Brews and Blasters,
The Deucecast Movie Show,
Techno Retro Dads,
and Talking Apes TV.
Where the latest episode just came out a couple of days ago, and it's doing gangbusters in the download, so thank you, everyone. Yay. Thank you for listening.
That's right. Okay, the conversation continues 24/7 on social media, so you can find us at Skywalking Pod for Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, and Snapchat. And we also have our lovely Facebook group where you can meet other Skywalkers. In fact, that's how many Skywalkers around the country found each other and met each other at the various awesome events that were going on during Labor Day weekend.
Very, very true.
Yeah. So in order to join that, you just have to search Facebook for Skywalking Through Neverland groups. And then once you do that, you will have to request to join. And then one of the admins will make sure that you're legit. And if you want to really make sure you're legit, just send us a message and let us know that you listen.
And if you want to make our day legit, go ahead and leave us a review over on iTunes.
Wow, I love those segues.
I know, awesome.
Oh my goodness.
Always love to hear what the Skywalkers think. And of course, every time you leave a review, it just makes our presence known on iTunes. Looking to get to be number 1 by October.
Number 1. Awesome. All right, thank you, Skywalkers, for joining our Star Wars Disney family every week. And always remember...
Neverland on Alderaan.
Some imagination, huh?
To our Skywalkers and Tweetwalkers, thanks for listening. Skywalking Through Neverland is created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Original music by Rob Dellinger. Creative consultant Mark Augushowitz. Technical advisor Peter Heitman. Facebook administrators Donald Wicks, Joey Pittman, and Norma Heitman.
Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Any sounds, music, and clips played during this podcast are the property of their copyright holders. All original content is property of Skywalking Through Neverland, all rights reserved. Sorry, had to be said.
This is what... you just... Okay.
Fun-filled stories, one more time. We are the family-friendly Disney and Star Wars podcast that brings you...
And I jumped in before I should have.
Yes, you did. All right, follow the script, would you? No, I need the script for this part.
Okay. Pillow's not one. Pajama. And
Twi'lek,
pajama.
Twi'lek,
Actually,
you know.
the fangirls, we got on the whole pajama thing.
It's pajama.
It's pajamas.
It's Twi'lek, too.
Superfluous. How do you say that word?
Superfluous.
Did I say it right?
I think I was the one who said it.
Superfluous.
Superfluous.
See, that's another word that I read, and I
this-
think superfluous. Okay, and this is superfluous
this is
and
a tangential. Miss Margaret Carey. One more time. And we break down the John Williams concert from the Hollywood Bowl. That mean we did it at the Hollywood Bowl? One more time. Let's now... My goodness, the phone keeps ringing.
John Will. I had to yawn.
He/she emailed. We never found out the sex of Chickafant.
No.
I think it's androgynous?
Yes.
I don't know, but Chickafant wrote in and said that every time I look, we're a couple of steps ahead of what we were the pretty little.
However,
would you like a happier one? I will read a happier one and a shorter one. Okay, here's one. Margaret Henley, William Henley's much-loved daughter, was known to everyone as the Golden Child. With her flaxen hair, merry laugh, and bright eyes, she captivated all who met her. William, by now editor of the National Observer, was mentor and confidant to many of the prominent writers of the age, including James M. Barrie, who quickly fell under Margaret's spell. She noticed her father would call out, "Here comes friendly Barrie," whenever he visited. And when he did, she would fling herself into his arms crying, "Fwendy, Fwendy." Margaret was unable to pronounce the letters R or L. A lovely new name for girls was born. It was thus that Peter Pan's Wendy came by her name. This fascinating tidbit is in one of my very favorite books I found when I was flown to London for the Studio Press Junket celebrating the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney's Peter Pan.
Aww.
Did you know that?
No.
Here's another one, real short. You can use anything that you want.
Okay, these will be the outtakes.
Okay. 3 more tidbits about Sir James M. Barrie's Peter Pan.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me video record this.
Oh. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a short paragraph.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah, get to the other side. Oh, okay.
Preface that one more.
Ready?
And action.
3 more tidbits about Sir James M. Barrie's Peter Pan. The fabulous English actress Dame Maggie Smith, Professor Minerva McGonagall in the Harry Potter films, the Dowager Countess in Downton Abbey, played Peter Pan at the Coliseum Theatre in London in 1973, in Los Angeles in 1974, and New York in 1975. Miss Elsa Lancaster, the Bride of Frankenstein, also played Peter Pan on the stage opposite her husband, Charles Laughton, in the dual role of Mr. George Darling and Captain Hook. When actress Jean Arthur was Peter Pan, she did battle with Captain Hook, played by Frankenstein's monster, Boris Karloff.
Wow. Very nice. Perfect.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that at all.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So many fun facts in your book.
I like to leave it on the family note.
Yeah, good deal. Okay.
Okay, good. Done.